So when we respond to that "who am I" question, the typical ways that we answer it is a reflection of our self-concepts. I'm smart, I'm funny, I'm quiet, I'm hardworking. These are all examples of our self-concepts. And we form these definitions of ourselves based on our roles, both at home with our families as well as at work. And as we enter adulthood, the answers we give to that "who am I" question start to become relatively consistent. We know who we are. However, some key life events can change our views of self. And these include changes due to ageing, as well as establishment of key life roles, such as becoming someone's spouse or starting a new career. But these things are almost predictable. We know when we reach a certain age we will retire and leave work. We know when we're going to get married, and we agree to start a new career. Another event that can change our self-concepts is receiving a medical diagnosis. And this is unique because it's often unexpected and we have no control over it. And some recent work has suggested that self-concept may be a relevant indicator of adjustment following medical diagnoses. And this is because who we see ourselves as impacts almost everything we do and how we feel. So why do we want to know about self-concept and how self-concept might change due to MS? Well, we know that self-concept is related to how people function in their everyday life, as well as their well-being. And we know this from studies in other clinical groups, such as individuals who have experienced a stroke. And it may be that MS alters the way you see yourself in your important everyday roles. And we know that roles do change due to MS. For example, some people have difficulties maintaining full-time work and managing personal commitments. But we do not have a good appreciation of how perceptions of oneself change as a result of MS. So to gain an understanding of how people living with MS may experience changes in their self-concept, we looked at all previous studies that have investigated this. And in total, 30 studies had explored this idea of how people living with MS may experience changes in their self-concept. And across these studies, data from over 1,500 people living with MS was available. So what did they find? Some of these studies found relationships between change in self-concept and other key factors. For example, self-concept change was related to greater number and severity of symptoms. Withdrawal or changes to previously valued roles, such as work roles, family roles, and social roles, was also related to greater self-concept change. And importantly, these studies also demonstrated the link between worsening self-concept and worse well-being over time. Other studies looked at how people living with MS spoke about changes to their self-concepts. And when we looked at these, we noticed that self-concept change was discussed both broadly, for example, I have completely changed as a person, as well as in more specific ways. For example, I am more of a reserved person now. There was also some descriptions of change in terms of loss of self. For instance, parts of the person I once was are now gone. And to extend on what these other studies had done, and to get a better understanding of how self-concept change may be relevant to those living with MS, we then conducted our own research, where we spoke to 16 people living with MS and asked them about their experiences of self-concept change, what this looked like, how it occurred, and the impact it had on their everyday lives. And when we looked at the stories of those people living with MS that we interviewed, we noticed 3 common experiences, which when looked at together gave a picture of this complex process of self-concept change as experienced by these individuals. So this diagram shows that experience where some key life event would occur and cause a change to someone's everyday life. And this would then lead to that individual thinking about that and what that means to them, which would then result in some type of change in self-concept. So this first experience of changing life circumstances was described as defining moments in these individuals' lives. And one example of this changing life event was diagnosis. And this is a quote from a 26-year-old male who was discussing the most self-defining moments in his life so far. And he said to me, diagnosis was probably the biggest thing because it was such a shock. I felt like I was about to just melt away, like the person I was gone now. And following a major life change, participants discussed what this meant for their self-concepts. And while MS caused a lot of pain for these participants, some spoke of how they use this to show their strength and determination, with this now becoming a defining thing in their self-concepts. And this quote is from a 58-year-old male who was telling me about how his MS had caused him lots of difficulties. However, he was now able to see that this had also made him a stronger and more determined person. And he said to me, I'm a survivor now, you know? That's it. You keep getting knocked down, you keep getting back up again. That's it. And the shift in thinking that occurred as a result of changes in day-to-day life was important for how these participants made sense of their new self-concepts. And a process of reprioritisation was common, where participants spoke about devoting their time and energy to the most important parts of their lives and making them the most defining parts of their self-concepts. And this quote is from a 53-year-old woman who told me about her decision to leave work due to her deteriorating condition, which allowed her to focus her energy on her children and her parental responsibilities. And she said to me, I've got to look after myself a little bit more and not work full time, because obviously I'm not the person I want to be when I'm so focused on work. So what do we know so far? Well, self-concept change following MS diagnosis and throughout the disease course may be a common experience for those living with MS that can have wide-ranging impacts on adjustment. However, no 2 people that we interviewed and spoke to had the exact same experience of self-concept change. Therefore, it is likely a very personal and complicated experience that cannot be oversimplified. And as clinicians and researchers, it's important for us to understand how you may experience changes to your self-concept and the implications of that for your well-being. And we hope that this information will allow us to develop more targeted supports to be available to those who may be experiencing these changes to assist in the renegotiation and redefinition of self. So we're always looking for people to contribute to our work and help us build our understanding of the relevance of self-concept change for those living with MS. And we're about to launch a survey through the Australian MS Longitudinal Study that will investigate this topic further. So if you're a participant in that, you'll see that coming your way soon. Also, we're very keen to talk to anyone who's wanting to be involved with the interpretation of our study findings. So if you're keen, please come and have a chat with me. I'm over in the trade table area. And I would just like to thank all of the wonderful people that have contributed to this project, particularly my fabulous PhD supervisors, Dr. Cynthia Honan and Dr. Christine Paget, and the other wonderful people that have contributed to this project, as well as the 16 people living with MS that were kind enough to share their stories with us. Thank you.